What a way to start the early AM then with MTV Sports' Good Morning Sri Lanka. Do you hear that? It's the weekend, people, around the corner. That's right, the final working day. Good morning, Amaya. How
Good
are
morning,
you?
Jason. I'm good this morning. You're all perky this morning.
I'm so happy because it's the weekend's around the corner, and we have two special guests on the show. First off, later on in the show, we have Arundhati Sivagurunathan to speak about children. You know, like those kids that have like picky eaters and stuff? Well, we're going to speak about those type of kids.
All right, I'm sure.
I have to say no. But to kick the show off, we have Faisal Hamid, who is the owner of a large network in Sri Lanka of a lot of men's boutiques here. And he's here to grace us with his presence and speak about an initiative that he started off, which is called My Friends. And I'm really interested to speak about it. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
It's your first time on Good Morning Sri Lanka, so we have to say a very good morning to you. It's great to have you on the show now.
Thank you.
Usually on first times we have like this party troupe that walks across and be like, woo! But no, unfortunately they're not here today. No, we don't have one. I'm sorry. Alright, so Mr. Hamid, tell me, how did you know that you had this creative and eye, you know, to like men's fashion?
Yes, I have been supporting my father as a kid, and so I have nearly over 20 years experience in the trade. So as a kid I used to go and help my father, so maybe that we have been in the men's fair business for many decades now. The name Hamida was established in 1925 by my father's grandfather and uncle. My father took over in 1949.
Right.
And so I got into business in the mid 80s.
Okay.
And so I think by helping the father I got the eye and smell for garments, especially for men's.
Right.
And so it had really helped me to be what I am today.
Right. So like when you first pretty much, do you remember the first time you actually saw men's clothing? Like the first time you saw it, what went on through your mind? Did you say, you know what, yes, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it huge here in this country. And you kind of did. You did.
Yeah, I just after leaving college, I went for a fashion show. And I saw the particular show, and I felt that I can do something better.
Right.
And from that day, then I started, I want to do studies on fashion designing. At that time in Sri Lanka we didn't have a fashion school, so I had to travel to Thailand and to join a school called SMOD in Bangkok. So over there I couldn't stay too long because my daddy was a bit sick and he felt sick, so I had to, at halfway I had to almost give up my studies and come back and take over the business. And
so I'm curious though, when he came back, what went through your mind when you had to take on that entire brand?
No, actually my brother was also running at that time, so but he was moving into exports, so I took over the local market. And
you haven't looked back since then.
Yes, it's challenging and it's very interesting.
Of course, and you're considered as one of the foremost consultants in menswear here in the country, and you've built up that brand for yourself. In fact, you are the one who creates the wardrobe for Shaq, who is one of our own here at MTV Sports, and he's the host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That's the name of the show. You have to say it like that. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Okay,
sorry, Jason, I'll let you handle that then. But you did that very well. Kudos. All right. So when it comes to, you know, designing for menswear, because we have so many people who design for ladies, right? But there is only a few foremost names that design menswear. What are the sources that you draw your inspiration from, and what really influences you?
See, I travel a lot, especially going to Italy for the last 15 years, and I think that was my changing point. When I saw the real quality stuff, the most expensive suits, shoes, ties, so it's very high-end, we call it luxury, and that's where I learned what quality is all about. And it's example like 3,000 euros a suit, and I don't think anybody can identify $3,100 suit, so you need an eye for that.
Right.
Of course.
How to evaluate a good suit, so it's a totally big game.
And what are some of the international brands that you really like, and some of the international designers that maybe you emulate and try to,
see,
especially as you were, starting off in the field?
I follow a brand called Xenia. It's an Italian high-end men's brand. Then there's a brand called Canali, then Hugo Boss. So these are the few brands which I keep eyeing, and when I see that garments, I keep on working on that. So I know I can move with that. So to reach that, it's not easy, so you have to find the total package, especially finding the right fabric, so right technology, right equipment, so right people, and so it's a really challenge with all the experience and with a good set of team in my factory. So we develop that.
Mr. Hamid, now you have a very distinctive style. It's a very interesting style you have. How would you kind of put into words of the style that you kind of dress out as?
See, I divide my clients. So when I see you, I know what category you come in.
Oh, what category does the magnificent Jason come in?
You need to charge for this, Mr. Hamid. You really do. Please do. After the show, give Jason a bill.
So I categorize my customer. I know what your background, what taste you're looking at. So when I see a person, I evaluate. I know exactly what he's looking for.
Right.
So I start making. When I do my collection, it's very easy because since I've been in the market for nearly 2 decades, so it helps me to define my customer very easily. But now the competition has grown. It's good for all of us, good for the customer, good for the country. But that's a challenge we face. So with that, we move on.
So it's actually good that the competition is
definitely
there. It makes
good,
you even more better than what you were.
Of course, but we need to speak about your sense of style. Now, what do you personally go for?
Okay, I go for quality first. I want quality. I try to make very elegant, very class stuff.
And very simple, I'm guessing, as well, because do you go for, a sort of simplistic approach or monochrome, or you like experimenting with colors?
When I say simple, I have something called staple. Staple are just very basic. Then I divide that into classic, which is like again stripes and checks, very we call it which regular people wear it. Then I get into fashion.
Okay.
So I divide in 3. Now Jason, I put in the fashion category, and so it's difficult customer, and he wants fit. He will first see the fit. Then he wants a color. Quality come last for him.
These are
style you want.
Style takes foremost, I guess.
Style more than
as
quality.
evidenced by the army boots here that we see on Good Morning Sri Lanka today.
Correct. If you're wondering where you want to get these, I'm not telling you.
That's all right, Jason. No one asked you.
But I'm pretty sure there's someone out there.
All right.
But anyways,
but we find that so many style icons today here in Sri Lanka, especially in Colombo, they're very flamboyant characters, and they make a lot of glitz and to-do when they enter a room. But we find, we've met you, we've spoken to you, you're a very down-to-earth character, but you're still a huge name here in this industry. So how do you maintain that? How do you sort of keep yourself grounded?
I don't think that way. I am what I am. So we came from a background which I would call it. Our parents brought up in a way where we respect everyone. It's not how much money you have. It's how you have been brought up.
Of course.
And so people say different thing. I am high profile, but I don't think that. I am what I am, and I move on with my life.
All right.
And I think that's really what elevates you and puts you, head and shoulders above the rest of your competitors.
Spot on. That's the best thing you've said so far today.
Wow, thank you, Jason, for that compliment.
Yeah, that's like a backhand compliment. I'm sorry. Okay, you've dressed up so many celebrities. What's that experience like, dressing up celebrities?
It's learning different type of people. And different taste, and some are difficult to handle. Their taste doesn't go well with me.
Right.
So, but then as a customer, so I have to handle them. So sometimes I correct them. Sometimes See, it's very easy. Now what I do makeovers to people, you know. So yeah,
okay.
That's my new thing.
Okay.
So when somebody, if I see them more negative ways, so I try to make it positive.
Okay.
So I give them a positive color. They were negative colors, I give them positive colors. I try to give them to upgrade them.
Okay.
I tell them, yes, I'll make you young by 10 years. Come to me.
So it's all about the right color and the right fit, is it?
Certainly,
to take 10 years off your age.
Oh yes.
Alright, so if you want to get a proper makeover done, you know the man to consult. Alright.
Yeah. Alright, so now I know this was asked before, but there's a lot of people that watch the show that are very inspired by every single person that comes on the show. And they learn a lot from the story of how and when you started. Now, could you just run us through when exactly you started out in this field and the end product? It's not the end. It's obviously until now. How much you've changed as a person, how much your brand has changed till now, till today.
Yeah, I started in the mid-80s. I joined my brothers, and so I think when I started, the market was not that big here. You know, there were a lot of shops, but the competition was not that great. So we were doing tailoring at that time. So that really helped me to measure people, understand the men well. And I would have measured over 1,000 people. I would have measured all the presidents of the country.
Wow.
And so it was very easy for me because I have moved at the top of the people in the country. So I have like made clothes for them. So it was very easy. So I think that's really made my life what I am today.
But are there any experiences that really stand out for you? We don't need to name names if you don't want to, but I'm sure there are some things that you've experienced along the way which really stand out for you.
There are many, but I don't want to mention that. It's
a great journey so far.
Yes, great.
All right. But you said that you are influenced by many of these Western brands, but at the end of the day, you're designing for a Sri Lankan market. So what are the adaptations that you have had to make here, you know, designing for the Sri Lankan men? And what are the tastes that you find are always coming back and you've noticed them a lot?
See, Sri Lankan men have changed a lot.
Okay.
But I saw 20 years ago, and now it's amazing. And so it seems we are upgrading ourselves with the international fashion, so it's very easy for us to move on. So as I said, there is a fashion category, there is a very regular stuff, and some people want very basic. So
Classical.
these three will combine well. So it's
But it's a good change. You find it a good change?
Extremely, because youngsters are changing. They are on internet, so they know what's happening around the world, and so we need to move ahead with them.
But you have to have a lot of foresight to, you know, really think when you started out 20 years ago that I will be able to make a Sri Lankan menswear brand that can, you know, stand the test of time. So what's the thinking process that you had when you started out? Did you see it coming to this level?
Yes, we have been bringing some imported brands, and the price was getting high. Our economy is going down day by day, and the dollar was rising, and so
still is rising, unfortunately.
Duty was very high. Duty was very high on imported product, and I felt that since we have the tailoring background, stitching knowledge, so we started a factory, and in fact. So the factory we had, I converted into local market, and that was